Tonight, Monday Night Raw takes place once again from inside the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida, inside the WWE Thunderdome. Just like Friday night's episode of SmackDown on Fox was the season premiere of Friday Night SmackDown, tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw is the season premiere of Monday Night Raw on the USA Network. Not that that means anything. I mean, I think in the grand scheme of things, WWE is on TV 52 weeks of the year. They're on TV every single week. I don't understand how there can actually be a season finale, let alone a season premiere. I guess this is their new thing, is that every time the draft happens in around October time, the following week with the new rosters, it's the season premiere of Raw and SmackDown. So that's what we're getting tonight. So we've got a pretty loaded up show with Monday Night Raw tonight. One such thing that's being promoted and being hyped up is Elias. Elias is promising a concert for the ages tonight on Monday Night Raw. And this is obviously in keeping with the return of Elias on Monday Night Raw in recent weeks. Of course, Elias returned to WWE last week during the draft in that he attacked Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy last week on Monday Night Raw, there was a triple threat match between Jeff Hardy, Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. Good match, really enjoyable match. I mean, to be honest, that's a match that really, in the grand scheme of things, should probably be on a pay-per-view. That's a pay-per-view main event. To be honest, that could easily main event a pay-per-view for the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship or whatever. But last week, during the triple threat match, Elias returned and attacked Jeff Hardy, hitting him with his guitar. They're picking up from the disastrous Jeff Hardy drunken hit and run mistaken identity angle during his feud with Sheamus over the summer. That's what they're feuding about on Raw. Of course, both superstars, Elias and Jeff Hardy, are now on Monday Night Raw after being drafted from Friday Night SmackDown to Monday Night Raw. Now, again, we'll touch on the feud and the origins of this feud when it comes to the Jeff Hardy drunken hit and run thing in a second. But to celebrate his return, Elias has promised to put on a concert that no one will forget, especially Jeff Hardy, as Elias prepares for the release of his new album called The Universal Truth. So I'm assuming, like most Elias concerts, every time Elias does have a concert or every time Elias does perform, he gets interrupted, right? That's the deal when it comes to Elias in WWE. He plays a song or attempts to play a song and gets interrupted. So I'm assuming we'll have no different tonight on on Raw rather, is we'll have Elias do his concert, he'll get interrupted by Jeff Hardy, and that'll be the situation there. Now when it comes to Jeff Hardy and Elias's feud and the origins of their feud. So if you didn't see it over the summer, I mean, lucky you, to be honest. But during his feud with Jeff Hardy, when Sheamus had his feud with Jeff Hardy over the summer, essentially he was mocking and talking about Jeff Hardy's problems with substance abuse and alcohol. Jeff Hardy is, if you didn't know, they mention it almost every week on WWE TV at this point, but Jeff Hardy is a recovering alcoholic, recovering drug addict. In 2019, he entered a rehabilitation program for the first time in his life. At the moment, it would appear that Jeff Hardy has beaten these demons, but it's been a case that Jeff Hardy has been battling these demons for a very long time. His legal issues, they are still not solved, by the way. He is still due into court for an issue at the end of 2019. Obviously, due to the pandemic and due to it not being a priority case, it keeps getting pushed back and back and back. So still, to me, it seems insane that WWE decided to promote this storyline when Jeff Hardy was still in legal issues when it comes to these substance abuse issues. But that's by the by. During this feud with Sheamus, we opened SmackDown during these Performance Center shows, whereby this is when Renee Young was still with the company. We opened the show and Renee Young's outside, and you see outside the Performance Center, you see sort of loads and loads of people mixing around, weird stuff going on, and you see Elias on the floor or on the pavement, on the sidewalk, whatever you want to call it for my American viewers. He's there laying down, and basically the scene is that he was hit by a car. Yes, he was run down by a car, and there's craziness going on. The car has been abandoned. There is no one in the car. The police are investigating the matter. They open the car door. They look into the driver information, and they see that the car is a rental car rented to Jeff Hardy. They also find in there a bottle of alcohol, which hasn't been opened, by the way. And they say the impression being that Jeff Hardy was drunk behind the wheel. He ran over Elias. And then you find that Jeff Hardy is, I think, a couple of 100 feet away. He's been attacked and thrown into a bush, and he's been doused with alcohol. And the point being, it's meant to imply that Jeff Hardy did a drunken hit and run, essentially. Now, the storyline then was that Jeff Hardy was set up. He was framed. He went to the local police station. He passed all of the field sobriety tests, and he was set up by a man with red hair. That's all they said. And they basically implied that it was Sheamus. Sheamus was the one that set up Jeff Hardy, and Sheamus was the one that ran down Elias. But they never paid off the storyline. They never paid off the storyline. They just said it was man with red hair, because I felt at the time they never paid it off. One, because I don't think WWE cares about logic, to be honest. But secondly, because in the grand scheme of things, if Sheamus did do that, if Sheamus set up Jeff Hardy, from a legal point of view, I mean, I'm no lawyer and I'm no expert in the law, especially American law, surely Sheamus would be in a lot of trouble there. I mean, not only did he run someone over, he did a hit and run himself, and then he set up and framed someone else. Surely Sheamus would be in massive, massive trouble for that in terms of storyline. But they never did anything. They never did anything about it. They just paid it off as, oh, I think it was Sheamus, that rotten heel, or running over people. Ugh. You'll be careful with him. It was ridiculous. That whole storyline when it comes to Jeff Hardy and Sheamus was just ridiculous. I'm so glad it's over, but now they're dragging it back up with this return of Elias and Jeff Hardy on Monday Night Raw. Even last week, he had the interview with, was it Charlie Caruso, and she says to Elias, well, that wasn't Jeff Hardy. You realise that wasn't Jeff Hardy. And Elias is like, I know, someone with red hair, don't worry, I'm going to be on to them. I don't get it either. It's very confusing. I don't understand it, to be honest with you. And when it comes to Elias, this guy is going to be rivaling the Big Show soon in terms of the man who has turned heel and babyface most times in his WWE career, because I've actually lost count. I tried to do like a little bit of counting before I went on with this video, and has he been heel and babyface? I want to say at least 2 or 3 times each. Maybe more than that. And that's in the space of at least, 2 years? 3 years? He is genuinely going to be rivaling the Big Show for the guy who's turned heel and babyface the most times. And I don't understand why WWE insists on turning Elias babyface, to be honest, because he obviously does his best work as a heel. He's always done his best work as a heel. He's quite a unique case, to be honest, Elias, in that his success in NXT was rather limited. I mean, he didn't do anything really of substance in NXT. It was the Drifter, Elias Sampson. His major success has come on the main roster. He's done a lot better than I think anyone thought he would do on the main roster in comparison to his work in NXT. But he's always better as a heel. His gimmick works better as a heel. His gimmick is the singing gimmick, which is always obnoxious. And then, when the crowd is there, he has got the town that they're in. He got the huge reaction in Seattle where he mocked them losing, was it the basketball team? So his work is better always as a heel. I think WWE just has this fascination or insistence that he turns babyface, because I think in their mind they think, oh, this guy playing the guitar, look, if we can actually get him over as a babyface, think of the merch, think of the albums we could sell with his albums, and think of how fun it could be with a guy playing guitar and everyone cheering along and clapping. I don't think in their mind they realise that you can be a heel and you can be over in 2020. And I know in the old school sense that wouldn't be right. As a heel you should be getting booed, but Elias is the character for me as a heel that the crowd love to engage with and the crowd love to boo. But when he's a babyface, he kind of loses that, I don't know, that just sort of special essence you can't put your finger on. I think he becomes, for me, certainly less enjoyable as a babyface. When he's a heel, he's more enjoyable. So I think to be as a better character, he needs to stay heel. Hence why he does his better work, in my opinion, as a heel. So I do welcome the heel turn. I just find it ironic that it's like the 100th time that he's turned heel in the last couple of years. as I said, it's rivaling the Big Show at this point, to be honest with you. It's quite insane, it really is. So I have no doubts tonight that he'll do an entertaining promo, he'll play his guitar. Obviously, he's going to get interrupted by Jeff Hardy. I feel like that's pretty much inevitable in how this segment is going to play out. The feud with Jeff Hardy, I don't have a problem with it. I don't see Elias coming through it as the winner, though, which is, I suppose that's maybe a slight issue as you return to WWE. You'd want to be winning your first feud. I don't see that happening against Jeff Hardy. I still think there's a lot of plans for Jeff Hardy, regardless of the brand that he is on. My concern also is, though, that they're referencing this hit-and-run incident over the summer. That obviously was during, as I mentioned, the feud with Jeff Hardy and Sheamus, and all three men have been drafted to Monday Night Raw. It's not just Elias, it's not just Jeff Hardy. Sheamus has also been drafted to Raw too. Now, I think the main reason and purpose for Sheamus being drafted to Raw is that we're going to have a future Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre feud. Whether or not that's for the WWE Championship, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Sunday's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view will go a long way to deciding the future of Drew McIntyre when it comes to the WWE Championship. But in the interim, I do think that there might be a possibility that we have this feud between Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, and Elias. I really, really, really don't want to see the Jeff Hardy-Sheamus feud continue. I don't think drafting them all to a different brand, a different show, makes it that's an excuse to continue the Jeff Hardy-Sheamus storyline or reignite the Jeff Hardy-Sheamus storyline. It's done. The matches were fine. The match is always going to be fine. Jeff Hardy and Sheamus are fantastic workers. That storyline of calling Jeff Hardy a drunk and an alcoholic and a drug addict every 5 seconds, I'm done with it. I don't need to see it anymore. Jeff Hardy, yes, he signed a new deal with WWE, but even this deal he's just signed, it's probably going to be his last contract with WWE. I want to see him do stuff of substance. I want to see him face the likes of The Fiend. I enjoyed his feud with AJ Styles and Sami Zayn because it was different. I want to see him maybe feud with Matt Riddle or Drew McIntyre or whatever. I want to see that. I think that's the best use for Jeff Hardy in WWE in these final few years that he has left with the company. I don't need to see a rehash of a storyline that wasn't that well received in the summer anyway. So I think, though, that they might do Sheamus getting involved in this. I don't know. I would like to see him maybe pay off the storyline just from a logic point of view, but in the grand scheme of things, do I really care if it's not paid off? No, because I don't want or need to see a rehash of that whole deal anyway. So, as I mentioned, I think Jeff Hardy will interrupt Elias tonight on Monday Night Raw. When are we going to get the Jeff Hardy No More Words song back? He's confirmed it's coming back. He said that was a factor behind him signing with the company. I think he said they're saving it for when fans are back. Obviously, fans aren't coming back to the WWE events, certainly not in November. Obviously, they've extended the residency at the Amway Center, so maybe we're looking at December or possibly January for getting No More Words back. That's going to be fantastic, though, isn't it? Getting No More Words back, it's an iconic Jeff Hardy entrance with the pyro, it's a fantastic entrance song, so we might have to be waiting a little bit longer. I mean, I wouldn't mind him, to be honest, returning it tonight, but I don't think they will. I think they're saving that for when fans are back in the arena, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But of course, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on Elias's concert to remember tonight on Monday Night Raw? What are your predictions? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be sure to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys and chatting about Monday Night Raw with you. If you've enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button as well. It really does help us out here on YouTube, pick up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestling News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.